What's up, everybody? It's Jason from Straight Edge Knives. Hey, coming at you today with which is essentially almost like the second part to my Case Knives CT3 video. As if you didn't see the first part, I sort of did a quick unboxing of this knife, and I made a tri-stick with it. So I wanted to get it out and do some initial cutting, and I said, you know what, I'm going to take that Choir Boys Cutlery Challenge to the next level, and I made another tri-stick. It came out pretty good. If you didn't see that video, go back and check it out. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. But I also said I was going to do a second part to this video, essentially because I wanted to show this knife doing a lot more of the cutting tasks that I normally do with all the testing type stuff that I do. And please forget my voice, or if I cough a little bit, I'm still kind of getting over this head cold that I got. But let's get right into it. I said in this video I would be going over the specs of this knife. So I went online, looked them up on Knife Center. You know, I wanted to give you guys, Knife Center usually does a really good job of putting a lot of the specs on there, so I basically broke it down. But essentially the Chris Taylor 3, the CT3, is the third of a line of knives designed by Chris Taylor, made by Case Knives. These are all made in the USA, but here it is, guys, a nice up-close look. It's a CT3. The blade length on this is 3.94 inches. The handle length is 4.13. Overall, you're looking at an 8.07 inch blade. It's 1095 high carbon steel with a blade thickness of 0.14. It's a Skinner style blade is what they listed as. It does have this like kind of black coating on the blade. It's almost like a, it's not a Cerakote. I'm not sure what you would call it. It's not Cerakote. It's, shoot, I don't know what you would call it, but it's kind of like a black, almost like a black paint. I don't, for lack of a better term, I don't know what they call it, but it's a black coating. It has a orange G10 textured handle, which is very grippy but not overly aggressive. I like it. It comes with a black leather sheath with a retention snap on there, generous belt loop, and it is 5.2 ounces. It weighs 5.2 ounces, which is, it's actually a really light knife. I believe that 5.2 ounces is without the sheath, so factor in maybe another 3-4 ounces with the sheath. You're looking at just under a 10-ounce carry package. The sheath doesn't really weigh anything else. I mean, yeah, I would say you're probably looking at the sheath. It's probably just a little bit lighter than the knife is. So, I mean, this knife is really, really light in the hand. Feels really good. When you come in for your reverse grip, like so, I mean, it just naturally fits your pinky's getting right into that finger choil there. Come right over the top so you can do your stab motions and backward cuts and whatever else it is you got to do ninja wise. You know, but the blade is really comfortable. When I was making that tri-stick, you know, you're getting in here with it and you're doing a lot of, you know, fine cutting. You're down here, you're going real fine, doing a lot, putting a lot of pressure on the back, choking up on the blade, you know, even pinch gripping the blade sometimes to get those cuts in. And I didn't really find any hot spots developing on my hands with my thumb pressing on the back when I was doing those cuts, those like press cuts and stuff like this, getting in here and digging out. I didn't have any, excuse me, hot spots or anything coming on my thumb. There was times where I come in here to make this stick and I'm holding like this, and I actually have my thumb on the back of the swedge here, and I'm kind of pressing like that. Even with the swedge on the back here, it didn't give me any issues. So overall, it's a very, very comfortable handle, a very comfortable blade design, and having those edges kind of rounded off on the back there just, you know, makes it really nice to hold. That 4-inch handle, I got a nice full-size grip with my big old fat meaty XL hands. So overall, very comfortable blade. Again, if you didn't see my initial video, I did go over the sheath a little bit. It's a belt loop leather sheath, very nicely made. I will touch on it again. The retention snap, I'm not a big fan of those in general on leather sheaths. I typically always wind up at some point in time somehow cutting them. It does hold the knife in very well. I'm not knocking it. I just know from using knives, like it pops like that and you go to pull the knife out and you're not paying attention. You come out and next you know you're dragging the blade across the strap. So whenever you're taking the blade out of the sheath, you definitely want to make sure you're getting that retention snap out of the way. Without the retention snap, it does have decent retention. You'd have to shake it pretty hard to get it to kind of start slipping out, but pretty good. It's not bad. That could loosen up over time though as you're using the knife. So it's just something to keep in mind. Just if you're sheathing and resheathing this with that retention snap, you definitely just make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing and getting it out of the way so you don't accidentally cut it. Is it the end of the world if you do? No, but you know, some people, no, that's just why I don't really care for those too much. But that's just a personal opinion. You may like it, and if you do, that's perfectly fine, because we all have our right to liking what we like and don't like. So let's get into this, guys. So I made the tri-stick. You saw that in the other previous video. And so now I wanted to get back into kind of the other stuff that I like to do with testing a knife. And, you know, we're going to start off, and we're going to just go with our good old stab test on the catalog here. So we're going to flip this over in the reverse grip, and we're just going to test out that nice pointy tip. And it is a nice sharp tip. That's what she said. Oh, look at that. Nice stab there. Got the nice, that's what she said joke in there. And yep, that tip is just barely poking out right here where my finger is. So we got about a good 3/4 of the way through that catalog with that stab. So not too bad, not a good, pretty good stab there. Come and do another one. Yeah, that tip is right there. I don't know if you can see that. My finger's actually touching it right there. So again, nice 3/4 of the way stab. So definitely can get some good penetration in there. You know, with those stabs coming over, doing that reverse, pow, you know. Getting through that catalog, that's pretty good. Can't complain about that. So up next, we're going to go jump into our poly rope, right? So obviously this is a Skinner style blade. You're designed to be skinning out knife, you know, game and stuff like that. But you know, you're going to have to cut rope, things as well with it. A lot of stuff you can do with this knife. It's a great easy carry blade, I would say. So bam, right through that rope, not a problem. Come here, let's do it again. Kind of a little short on the rope here. Whoop, slid out. There we go. Bam. Cutting through rope. Got it. Not an issue. Now let's say you got to cut through some thicker rope. Let's say you got this. This is a 3/8 inch thick Sisu rope. It's gonna come in here, set this bad boy down, and do a little sawing cut motion. Bam. Cut it off. Not a problem. And again, you can always save this stuff, build a fire with it later. So set that off to the side. So if you got to come through, cut some thicker rope, you can definitely do it. This blade did come with a really nice edge. It's still holding up really well, even after doing that, making that tri-stick. It's still sharp. I haven't touched it up at all. Very nicely done. One thing I did notice with this blade, with this black kind of paint coating that's on here, it's not paint. I know it's not paint, but I don't know what else to call it. But this black coating, I do notice that some of the stuff likes to stick to it, if that will. Like I stuck it down in a log, and when I pulled it out, like some of the wood stuff like to stick to the side of the blade. So that's something to note. I don't know if that's an issue or not for some people, but something to note. Materials like to stick to that for some reason. But right here, guys, we have the fire hose, and you know, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you guys know this stuff is super tough to cut. It's very abrasive and cut resistant because it's drug through, you know, car wrecks and broken glass and all that other not so fun stuff. This is 3 layers. You got an outer layer of canvas, an inner layer of canvas, and inside that inner layer of canvas is rubber actually glued in there. So you have a layer of glue in this essentially too. So we're going to go ahead and stab through this right here. Turn it like this. Bam. See it stab through, no problem. Let's go ahead and just push it through. I'm trying to do this and not cut myself. I swear I need to find a better way to do this. Excuse me. Here we go, let's do this. Apparently I can't seem to push this through. There we go. Which I don't think it's the knife's issue. I think it's me being scared that I'm going to slip and cut myself. Which, you know, I've done in the past. So that's why I'm always a little bit leery. Bam. There we go. There we go. Got a nice little cut through there. You know, you cut yourself a couple of times and you tend to be a little bit more cautious with what you're doing. But it's cutting through this pretty good. Could be a little better, I would say, but again, this is definitely a very, very tough material. And I think what I notice I'm doing is as I'm pulling it through, I'm sliding out and then I'm just rolling it out. And so I'm not getting that solid all the way down cut, but it's definitely cutting this. Every time I do that swipe through, it's just hogging through it. So it's, there we go. Yeah, see, definitely not an issue cutting it. It's just more of a user error type of thing. Yeah, there we go. So cut through it. So, excuse me, I made a mess all over myself now. If you had to cut through fire hose, definitely can do that as well. Let's say you had some, this is a air hose, 3000 PSI rated, nylon reinforced, kind of plasticky type of air hose. You had to come in here and slice off a chunk of this for whatever reason. Let's see. Kind of just roll through it. Bam, cut you a piece off. Not a problem. You had to cut it down the middle for whatever reason. Just press it up on top, press down, and cut it right in half. So sometimes, I'm sorry guys, I know sometimes I hold this stuff up to the camera and before it's done focusing I pull away, so I apologize for that. So there you go. So if you had to cut through some air hose, you can do it, not an issue. Let's say you're out skinning an animal. You had to get through some tough water buffalo hide. I don't know what you're hunting, but here's a leather belt, right? So it's just kind of standard leather belt. So you had to come in here and cut a piece of this off, cut a piece of hide off, just saw right through this, not a problem. You can cut through a belt, you can cut through a hide. That's what I say. I don't know if that's true or not, but stab that right through. Ah, look at that. Nice split. So will it tear through leather? Yes. Hide? Probably so. I'm gonna guess. I've never skinned anything out, which I would like to one day, but let's check that edge. Not a problem. Let's check this tip. Let's do a little bit more stab testing here real quick. Oh yeah, right into the log. Not a problem. One thing I'll notice with this tip is there's no damage to it at all, but the way they did this grind on it, you actually have almost like a diamond style tip head, if that makes any sense. The way it comes down, so it lends itself to being a really strong tip, but it still has a nice acute point. So if you had to kind of come in there and pierce that animal skin to get your knife under there to do the skinning, you can do it, not a problem. But if you had to do repeated stabs into something like wood or whatever, you're going to be able to do that as well. And I will say this tip held up fine when I did the tri-stick hole, like kind of drilling through like so. It did not take any damage to the tip. Let's say you had to cut some extension cord here, right? So this is just your standard 3. This isn't an extension cord. This actually is a power cord that came off of an old air compressor. Excuse me. Let's say you had to come in here and cut a piece of this off for whatever reason. So can I come in here and try not to hit my microphone? Do this kind of reverse cut. Started cutting through it and then I slid all the way out. Let's get in there again. There we go. And I just knocked my mic off. Sorry, just blew a bunch of dirt into the microphone, guys. Let me adjust this real quick. Where'd my little magnet go? Seem to have lost my magnet. So we're going to clip that to the hat. Oh, there it is. We'll set that off to the side. So, keep sliding off the blade as I'm trying to pull through, cut. There we go. I think a lot of that was more me than it was the knife. Not pulling right. But cut through it, not a problem. Again, though, I will say that is, if I'm going to nitpick something on this, it's going to be this coating on the blade. Like, if you could see that, like that black rubber off the nylon, this rubber sheathing material that's on this. Look how much of it stuck to the blade as I was dragging it through. I've had other blades that, you know, when I do this stuff doesn't stick to it. It glides right through. So I think some of that is what causes like that drag as I'm trying to slice through you know, cleanly. So I feel like some stuff likes to stick to whatever this coating is. I've also ran into this issue with some other knives that have like a black coating on them as well. So it's not something that's inherently just, you know, with case. I've had this issue with other knives that have like this kind of coating. I would say I wish a lot of the companies would start just going more to just Cerakote than utilizing whatever this stuff is. But it does protect the blade because this is 1095 high carbon steel. Excuse me. So let's say you wanted to get in there and start doing some woodworking stuff, right? So obviously we know you can make a tri-stick because you've seen that, but I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna just roll up on the stick. This is a wood dowel. It's not a stick off a tree, but if you had to come in here and start making some fire curls and wood shavings and stuff like that, very comfortable to do it with this knife. So you can see there, not a problem. If you wanted to, you can even come in, stick it in here this way, do some like pull drags, if you will. Got a little chunk, big chunk kind of there. There you go. Kind of drag it a little bit. There we go. So you can come through and kind of make wood shavings like that if you'd like. If you notice, there's some like kind of black residue on the stick. That's that rubber sheathing material that was getting rubbed off the blade now. You know what's weird is I'm filming myself right now, yet I'm nervous that my son's off to the side filming me with his phone. Is that weird? He's like making me nervous. He's over there filming me and I'm filming myself, but he's making me nervous. I don't know. Kind of weird. Ah, look at that. Oh, look at that. Just took a big old chunk of that stick out. But yeah, you can totally come through, make off your little tent stakes, spears, whatever it is you need to do. This knife is super light, so it's not necessarily doesn't lend itself well to chopping. But if you had to come in here, do some light chopping to make your tent stake a little bit quicker, you could easily do that as well. Are you going to be coming down and chopping 3-4 inch logs with this? No. I mean, I can even demonstrate that with this. This is a 3/4 inch thick wood dowel. So just come in here, I'm going to choke back on it. We're just going to chop into this. The lightness of this blade does not lend itself very well to just hard chopping. Okay, you see there, it does it, but doesn't do it well. This isn't a chopping blade. This is a skinner blade. See, look at, hold on one second here. It's doing that chopping. So you can see there, that's that rubber from that extension cord that was still stuck to this. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not a big fan of this coating. Well, we're done with that, right? So, sorry. Not a chopper. It's just a little bit too light for a chopper, but for a lot of like your kind of standard cutting stuff, it's definitely going to be a good blade for that. So, something flying on my ear. So here's like a piece of almond wood sliver. Come in here. This stuff is seasoned, dry and hard. Come in here and roll through, and again, make yourself some little feather sticks, things like that. Come in here, cut you off some pieces if your stick doesn't break. What's nice is if you come in and you start towards the tip and you kind of roll it down, it just cuts you off a nice kind of rounded piece of wood there. Like I said, this stuff would be good for starting fires. You see there? Sorry, let it focus. So for making wood doing wood type work stuff, finer stuff, definitely easily do that. This isn't a batoning knife. This is definitely a thinner stock blade, if you will, and it's just not necessarily designed to baton. Again, with that short blade, you're going to run out of real estate to baton with. I mean, if you absolutely had to do it, I would say stick to pieces that are about like yay size, because stuff like this, yeah, you could definitely probably come in and do a little light batoning if you had to. But if you start getting into like really thicker pieces, you just run out of real estate. Like this would probably be right here, like the max size I would want to baton. And I really I'd really only want to do this if it was, I absolutely had to. And you know, there you go. So can you do some light batoning with it? Yes. Again though, it's one of those things where it's like, definitely be cautious about it because it is a thinner stock blade. You might run that risk of bending it possibly. You'd be kind of hard pressed. You'd have to really be going pretty hard, but you know, obviously if this is the only tool you have, you don't want to risk breaking it. And honestly, I don't think you'd have to be really banging on this pretty damn hard. This is 1095. But see there, holding up no problem. It's just like, again, some more of that marking kind of stuff that happens with that coating on that blade. But overall, the edge is perfectly fine. Not a problem. Let's say you had to do a little food prep, right? So here's a lemon. It's just a lemon that I got off a tree that's over here. Typically I don't do food prep stuff, but let's just say you had to cut up, you know, I don't know, you found an apple, whatever. Here, I have a lemon. That's what we got. We're gonna make some lemonade. So come in here, obviously cut right through, make your lemonade. Not a problem. Nice, easy cuts. It's just very little effort to cut through this. You can see there, cuts, not a problem. So if you had to cut up some lemons, definitely could. Now I got lemon juice all over my blade. Give it that nice patina. I'm gonna wipe it off on this fire hose. Now I do have something. Now we got to get rid of this lemon. So yeah, we'll set that down. We'll throw that in the trash here in a little bit. I do have something. Whew. All right, hey, sorry about that. Something happened with my camera. It shut off on me. So we are back. So this is a piece of board off of a pallet. Nothing too crazy about it, but we're gonna do a little bit more of that tip testing in here. We're gonna come in here. We're gonna stab this sucker a little bit. Bam! Look at that. Nice deep stab there. Another one. Not a problem. So let's say you, again, you're gonna make a bow drill. Man, they got little bugs all over this thing. Make a bow drill notch or divot hole here. Come in here, put the tip in there. That's what she said. Oh, just start rolling it around. That's why this channel is not made for kids, folks. Just saying. Test this tip, make sure it's nice and strong. Just keep working this around, and depending on how far down you turn the blade will also kind of determine the circumference of the roundness of your bow drill. So if you needed like you had a bigger bow drill stick, you know, you're gonna want to make that circumference bigger. You can see there, this hole right here. Yeah, not a problem. Let's check this tip out. Still strong, still pointy, ready to go to work. Nice, holding up well. Guys, this CT3 Skinner, it's just a really nice EDC light duty use blade, I would say. I would say it's a light duty. You're not going to be doing any heavy chopping with it. You're not going to be doing heavy batoning with it or anything like that. This is going to be like your kind of general task type blade around the camp, you know, doing smaller whittling, you know, making tri-sticks, cutting up vegetables. If you're a hunter, obviously skinning out game, caping, doing all that stuff. With this big wide belly, you know, you'll be able to come in there and do those sweeps. You can definitely choke up onto it like this if you got to do like finer work, if you will. It's not going to be a problem. I am curious when it comes to skinning game, like, you know, how the wood materials and stuff like that kind of stick to this coating. Does that pose an issue when you're skinning game? I don't know. So if you're a hunter and you skin game out, leave your comment below. I'd like to know, like, is that type of coating, is it beneficial, like, because it's blood and stuff like that? Does it glide through a little bit easier? Or is it just because this is wood and different materials does it stick? Sound off in the comments, let me know. I'm generally interested to know. But, you know, my only complaint, honestly, with this knife is the retention strap and this coating. I'm just not a big fan of the coating. I have a Becker knife as well, a Becker BK, what is it, the BK9 or something like that. It has like a coating on it as well. I don't care for that either. So, but it's not a deal breaker. It's a great knife. Like, this knife is super comfortable in the hand, feels great. Would I carry this around every day? Hell yeah, I would. Is this coating going to be a huge issue? Not really. If I really don't like it, I can take it off. So it's personal preference, you know. Guys, if you're looking for a nice light EDC Skinner style blade, definitely take a look at the Case Knives CT3. It's got a lot of great attributes to it. The couple little negatives that I have are honestly just personal ones. They're not really necessarily functional. I mean, I wouldn't say they're functional ones to the knife. It's just a personal thing. So don't, you know, take that for what it's worth. But it's a great looking blade. When I first saw the orange, I was like, man, I wish those were a different color. The orange has honestly grown on me. I like it. Again, if you're out hunting and stuff, you drop this in the woods, you're going to be able to find it a lot easier with the orange handle. And again, if it's something you don't like, you can always dye them. I've already, you know, off my first video, I've already had some guys saying, like, yeah, I like that blade, I'm going to dye the handles when I get one. It's total personal preference option, if you will. And maybe that's something Case can offer in the future, is different handle scales that you could buy for it. But I like them. I think the texturing is really nice. It's super comfortable, and I dig it. And, you know, with the black sheath and the black blade, I mean, it just pops. It has a really good look to it. So it's each their own, though, right? So would I recommend getting the Case Knives CT3? Yeah, I would. I bought this knife. Case did not send this to me, or I didn't get I'm not sponsored or anything. I bought this with my own money, and do I regret buying it? Absolutely not. I think it's a good blade. I like it. I love the blade shape, and you know, I'm going to keep using this sucker, you know. So would I recommend it? Yeah, I would. So there it is, guys. The Case Knives CT3. I'm going to stop rambling, let you get back to whatever it is you're doing. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, stay sharp, and we'll see you next time.